The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, says it will not accept nominations from any candidate who caused a vacancy in the National Assembly. ECZ Corporate Affairs Manager Patricia Luhanga says this is in line with Article 72, subsection 4 of the Constitution of Zambia, Amendment Act number 2 of 2016.
This means that Bowman Lusambo from Patriotic Front, PF, and Joseph Melangi are not eligible to recontest for the Kabushi and Kwache seats respectively after their seats were declared null and void following election malpractice during last year's August 12th general elections. The nominations for the by-elections will take place today, Thursday, August 25th, 2022.
Meanwhile, the Law Association of Zambia says the constitution needs to be reformed to provide clarity on whether an MP whose seat has been nullified by the Constitutional Court can recontest. Joining us live from Lusaka, Zambia is McDonald Chipenzi, the Executive Director, Governance, Election, Advocacy and Research Services, GEARS. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Chipenzi.
Thank you so much, comrades, for the invitation to be part of this discussion.
Absolutely, great to have you. Now, Mr. Chipenzi, as the Executive Director of GEARS, let's first of all get your comments on all of this happening in Zambia.
Well, first and foremost is to state that the Electoral Commission of Zambia is on firm ground to have issued that statement because the law, the Constitution is very clear in Article 72, Sub-Article 2, of the avenues where a vacancy is created. And when that vacancy is created, it triggers the provision of Article 72, Sub-Article 4, which the Electoral Commission of Zambia triggered in issuing that statement. So if a member of parliament has caused or created, or a vacancy in the office of a member of parliament has been created by a decision of the court, then that member of parliament cannot be allowed to contest the election for the rest of the life of that parliament. So in this case, the two cannot, because they caused the elections on some avenues that are made that do not allow them to recontest their seats in the life of the current parliament until 2026. Also, you've noted the argument from the Law Association of Zambia, which is very correct, that the court never made a decision of disqualification or disqualified anything. But one argument that perhaps the association did not speak to is the article that was brought up by the Constitution, by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and that is Article 72, Sub-Article 4. In that, the Constitution clearly states that a person who causes a vacancy in the office of a member of parliament by violating a code of conduct, that person will not be allowed to stand again. And also a person is disqualified as a result of a decision of the Constitutional Court. And in this case, although nullification is not one of the areas or avenues where a member of parliament vacates a seat, okay, vacates the office, the decision by the court to nullify the seat, to nullify the election rather, created a vacancy.
All right, just to quickly clarify.
It means that these people cannot recontest their seats.
Mr. Chipenzi, just to quickly clarify, did the Constitutional Court disqualify the affected candidates?
No, it didn't disqualify anybody. What the Constitutional Court did was to uphold the nullification of their seats. And they defined nullification is to make null and void, which means that they had no election that elected them at that particular time. Therefore, that decision alone of the Constitutional Court to nullify the seat created a vacancy in the office of a member of parliament. And then the law says that any seat that has been created as a result of the decision of a court, that person involved will not recontest their seat.
Oh, wow.
So in a way, the Constitutional Court disqualified them by their own decision.
Well, the Law Association of Zambia, LAZ, says constitution needs to be reformed. So I would like your thoughts on that. Do you agree that some of these laws maybe need to be reformed or adjusted or changed completely?
Yes, indeed. Actually, the entire constitution needs to be revisited. The constitution that we have now is like Eshu, the confused of men, in the story of Obatala and other plays. Everyone is confused now. Everyone is interpreting the constitution in every manner. The judges are confused. The lawyers are confused. Civic activists like myself are confused. The politicians are confused. Those whose seats have been nullified are also confused. Everyone is confused, including the wind. It is confused. It doesn't know whether to blow to the east, west, or north, or south. So it's all confusion. And that is why we agree, and we have been calling this consistently, that our laws, because it's intent and has a lot of intertwining issues in it.
Very quickly, please speak to us on the possibility of a legal redress for the barred candidates to challenge EC's decision.
Already they have gone to court. As I'm speaking now, they have filed in some papers. We don't know what the decision of the court is. But as GIAs, we were ready to go to court had the ECZ allowed them to file in nomination, because we want the interpretation of the Constitution in this regard. And so we may be joining them today in that action that they have taken, so that together we can try and define the exact meaning of the provisions of the Constitution, whether these people are eligible or not, or they are not eligible.
Before, in 10, 20 seconds, what can you tell us about the views of their supporters? The people who maybe want these people to be in office to represent them. Is there anyone clamoring for them?
Of course, they are accusing those that have raised these issues, including myself, that we are being used, we have been paid to do what the Constitution is saying, to raise constitutional issues. They are agitated, they are angry, they are bitter for what has happened. They expected these things not to be raised by anybody. But of course, that's the nature of life. Every time when something happens which you think is not for you, you have all the excuses and you have all the fingers pointing at your enemies. And yet, this is just the normal process that is supposed to be followed, because such kind of things are provided for in the Constitution. The confusions are also provided for in the Constitution. So there's no one to blame. There's no one to be bitter about. You have to be bitter against the Constitution and not for anyone who is raising issues that are not clear in the Constitution.
All right, Mr. McDonald Chipenzi, thank you very much for your time this morning. We will be following up with the updates on this. We know that they're in court today, and we certainly would love to have you back again to give us more updates in this regard.
God bless.